All right. What's up, guys? We're gonna restart this. So we're gonna debate about this. So what's up, Amin the Dream? I know we had to redo this, but unfortunately, we just had to restart this. But hey, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing, CAG?
Doing all right. Since we're talking about the draft, right?
Yep.
Oh, I think this year's draft we got to get somebody in the rotation, or at least I think there is a spot we do need as a starter.
Offensive line.
Offensive line. But why do you think they don't value that that much?
I mean, you look at what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have done like throughout their tenure with the 49ers. They don't really prioritize that offensive line position. That's just what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch like. That's one like they do value the defensive line, and you see that with obviously re-signing Nick Bosa and heavily like drafting Drake Jackson in the second round, for example. But with that offensive line position, that's a position group that the Niners particularly don't tend to value as much. Um, and
Yeah.
like that's the thing that throughout this entire free agency period, most of the Niners free agency signings have been on defense, and they haven't necessarily been that much on offense. So in a way, it's almost like Kyle Shanahan telling us that he's cool with the offensive line. He thinks the offensive line is fine. And that's the thing. Looking at this upcoming draft, you have like Daniel Jeremiah and all these draft analysts having either the Niners end up drafting a cornerback in Kool-Aid McKinstry. That's some of the ones that I've seen, or the Niners end up drafting an offensive lineman in most of them. But that's the thing, though. If Kyle Shanahan really wanted to address the offensive line or felt like that was a position of need, wouldn't he have done that in free agency? Because there was guys that you could have gotten for cheap, like Trent Brown. He signed for former 49er. He signed for 1 year, $4 million. Like
Trying to
that's a
bargain on it.
that's a contract that the Niners could afford. Kevin Zeitler 1 year deal, I think it was like $7 million. That's a little bit more expensive, but that's a guard Pro Bowler for the Ravens last year. Like the Niners, if they really want to address the offensive line position, I felt like there were options available, but the Niners ended up not doing that. So looking forward to this draft and look in a couple of weeks, will the 49ers end up drafting an offensive lineman with that first round pick that they have? Because that's what the mocks are telling us. But if Kyle Shanahan really felt like this offensive line was a position that needed to be addressed, wouldn't they have done that at least somewhat in free agency? But the only really offensive line moves that they made was they signed this eighth round, not eighth rounder, but like this guy from the Raiders. They re-signed Colton McKivitz, but those aren't guys that are going to make big impacts for your team. Now, Colton McKivitz is a starter, but I mean, re-signing Colton McKivitz for a 1 year, $7 million deal, like that's starter money. Like that's not necessarily him, being a good depth piece or being a backup. Like no, Colton McKivitz is going to start for $7 million next year. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's put it like this: I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers don't end up drafting an offensive lineman with the first round pick.
Yeah. I think Colt McKivitz, don't get me wrong, he is like a serviceable kind of guy, but not a starter long term. When everybody kind of values more at the tackle position, we just don't seem to like fix that area the most. Like I think for some of our fan base, I think they're starting to come into resolution that Jake Brendel just isn't it for the long term. I mean, we signed him to a big contract. Does that mean we have to be committed to him long term?
I mean, you look at not even like Jake Brendel, but you look at this whole entire offensive line.
Yeah.
Besides Trent Williams and like even Aaron Banks, who's good in the run game, but he's iffy at times. Like he's also not super consistent. Besides Trent Williams, the rest of the offensive line is just eh. Like the only guy that on the offensive line that I want on whatever team that I'm building or whatever offense is Trent Williams. But you look at the rest of the offensive line. The rest of the offensive line is questionable. Even Banks is questionable at times. And that's the thing about this offensive line. You look at like when the Niners run the ball, and they particularly run it to the left side towards Trent Williams' side. But like if I'm a defense, eventually like I'm gonna think like, okay, the Niners, if they're scheming run plays on the outside, they're gonna scheme it to the left because you have Trent Williams on that side. But the right side, like I'm not running on Colton McKivitt's side, or I'm not running on Spencer Burford's side or John Feliciano's side. Um, and they're not even good in pass protection most of the time. So I mean, in terms of Jake Brendel, I think he's going to be on the team for at least another season. He obviously, I think, was a Pro Bowl alternate last year. So, I mean, in Kyle Shanahan's eyes, like that's still an acceptable center to start.
Yeah.
But in terms of Colton McKivitz and even like John Feliciano and Spencer Burford, like I don't know what's happening at right guard. Is it going to be Burford? Is it going to be Feliciano? Because you saw them rotate at times last year. And then in terms of Colton McKivitz, like he's all right, but is he really like you could have definitely upgraded at that position. And like I said, the rest of the NFC they upgraded at the offensive line position. The Rams went out and signed a couple of offensive linemen. I mean, the Packers got better. They signed Josh Jacobs. I mean, the Eagles, as much as the Eagles kind of collapsed last year in the second half of the season, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, like that team is still on paper at least a playoff team. So the only team that I don't really care about this year is the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys suck. They didn't really do anything. I'm not worried about the Cowboys, but your division, your conference, not your division, but your conference got a whole lot harder, and it's going to be harder for the Niners this year. And that's the thing about last year that kind of hurts me a little bit is that last year I felt like was the best opportunity for the Niners to capitalize on that Super Bowl. You had Patrick Mahomes, who had a couple of starting offensive linemen injured. That team wasn't healthy. Our team was pretty much healthy going into the game, and then you lose Dre Greenlaw, which is huge. But I mean, the way that that defense played for almost 3.5 quarters, like you should have won that game, but instead you didn't. And now the Packers got better going into next year. The Eagles got better going into next year. The Rams, you could say, got better. They have a healthy Cooper Kupp going into next year. So teams are getting healthier and better going into next season. So it's only going to be harder for the 49ers if they want to go back to that Super Bowl. And like you look at 2019, the Niners made it to the Super Bowl, and it took them another 4 years to make it back. So it's not easy to go back to the Super Bowl. So that's the thing. Like last year was honestly the best opportunity I felt like for the Niners to capitalize and win the Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens. But I think the offensive line definitely needs to be addressed. But at the same time, the way that Kyle Shanahan has been, doing, throughout this free agency process and working throughout this free agency process, it seems like he feels that this offensive line is good enough. So if the Niners don't end up drafting offensive line in the first round, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. But yep. There is that spot. It could be the most spot we need to improve on, but Niners just look at it more like it's not the weakest link. Like Kyle Shanahan doesn't really care for it. Like, I don't think that he doesn't care for it. He just wants to go with the continuity. But if you want to get better at the position, you have to really look into like you just said, those two guys, Feliciano and you said McKivitz, they're not good run blockers at times, right? So if your running back wanted to run to the other outside, they are just a team that's like you have to go more on Trent Williams' area, and you need somebody to replace Trent Williams at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so Trent Williams is only getting older, so yeah, I mean Trent's only getting older, and that's the thing about Kyle is that you have the quarterback now in Brock Purdy, yet last year you had a really good opportunity in the Super Bowl, and you could say whatever, muff punt, da 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 da. But I mean, the comparisons between Andy Reid in Philadelphia and Kyle Shanahan have been thrown around since after the Super Bowl, and I know this is not necessarily particularly with the draft, but that comparison has been thrown around. But it took Andy Reid, arguably the greatest quarterback talent of all time, to win a Super Bowl. Like, in my opinion, I think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, in terms, not necessarily the accolades or the numbers, but, like, Mahomes, what he's able to do on a football field, like, what he did with his receiver core this year. Like, he had nobody in his receiver core this year. Rashee Rice was a rookie, and yet he's still able to win back-to-back Super Bowls, regardless of losing Tyreek Hill, and his best weapon was Travis Kelce. So, I mean, it took Andy Reid, the greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion, to win Super Bowl. And Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, but the issue that I have with Kyle in particular, and I've said this before on multiple streams, is that it's okay to lose. But when you refuse to learn from your mistakes after you lose,
a common thing.
It becomes like a problem. And you look at Kyle Shanahan, it's a recurring issue with Kyle Shanahan, the way that you lose Super Bowls or the way that you blow leads. It's a recurring issue. And like that's the funny thing about, the defensive coordinator hire. They hire Nick Sorensen, who obviously in-house candidate, we'll see what happens, but your assistant head coach is Brandon Staley. And I understand why you brought in Brandon Staley, because if Sorensen struggles or he needs help, or you feel like, the defense is kind of, not subpar and they're not really, doing what they're supposed to and they're struggling at times, and you feel like Brandon Staley can take over if Nick Sorensen is struggling, that defense is struggling, I understand that. But Brandon Staley, like I get that, but like Brandon Staley's also another coach who's choked leads in his only playoff appearance. He choked like a 27-point lead or 20-point lead to the Jaguars. So I mean, it's not like bringing in Brandon Staley as your assistant head coach really does anything necessarily on the defensive side, sure, but it's not like you have someone in Kyle Shanahan's ear making sure he's doing the right thing. And Kyle Shanahan, he's the smartest guy in the room according to Kyle. He's like an offensive genius. His ego is huge. So I mean, if you make mistakes and then you refuse to learn from your mistakes, and you constantly make the same mistakes over and over again and act like you did it, that's an issue. And you have a talented roster, and you still haven't been able to get it done. So it's tough with me for Kyle Shanahan because I feel like, yes, he's a talented offensive coach. He's a great offensive mind, but sometimes Kyle Shanahan gets in his own way, and then at the same time, he refuses to learn from the mistakes that he makes time and time and time again. And same Andy Reid comparisons. They've been throwing around those comparisons, but like I said, it took Andy Reid, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, to win the Super Bowl. And I love Brock Purdy, and no disrespect to Brock Purdy, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not, a quarterback that's generational. And that's not like necessarily a knock on Purdy, right? But I'm just saying, like, to overcome Andy Reid's, chokingness, if that makes sense, it took someone who's generational, whereas Brock Purdy isn't that. And that's not necessarily disrespect to Brock, but Kyle, if you refuse to learn from your mistakes, then you're going to constantly lose Super Bowl. You're going to constantly blow leads. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, but I don't think Brock is kind of the issue. I think he's a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's kind of ascending. The same mistakes from Kyle is always not running the ball. Like, that's kind of like if you think about the last 2 Super Bowls or the last 3 that he was a part of, it came down to the fourth or second half. He doesn't run the ball. That's where I'm kind of questioning, like, why is he not even thinking about running the ball? It's like, bro, why do you want to pass? You're giving the team a lot of time. And the Chiefs, it wasn't like the Chiefs were even scoring or anything. The Chiefs in this year's Super Bowl, they weren't doing nothing until the fourth quarter. That's what's so frustrating. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to pass the ball when all you got to do is run the clock? So we were just an extra point away from winning, and we were just running the possession away from winning. But Kyle still hasn't learned from that mistake. So, yeah, you're right about it.
And I'm not even blaming Brock. I don't think Brock is the problem. And I'll say that again. I don't think Brock is the problem. But at the same time, it takes a lot to overcome when a coach makes mistakes like that over and over and over again.
Yep.
And that's the thing is that, like, I'm not blaming Purdy for that. But at the same time, the rate that you're at right now with your team, guys are getting older. Trent Williams is getting older. Who knows how many years he has. George Kittle is getting older. And he already is he gets injured a lot. I'm not going to say injury prone, but he gets injured and he misses a couple of games every year. So guys on your team, the key guys on your team are getting older. And, like, your Super Bowl window is closing. We've heard that, before. The Niners Super Bowl window is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And now with Brock Purdy on that rookie contract, you have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. But your conference is only going to get harder year after year. And, like, I mean, Mahomes and that Chiefs team and the AFC is also freaking stacked. So, like, I mean, Kyle, what really doesn't make sense to me, like you said, with the running the football part, is that even in the NFC Championship game in 2019, you ran with Mostert like 20-something times.
And we couldn't even do that in the Super Bowl.
And in the Super Bowl, you're like, Mostert, we're not going to rely on you because in the NFC Championship game, for some reason, the game plan was, we don't want the ball in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands, so let's run the ball. But in the Super Bowl, we want the ball in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands, let's not run the ball. And then even like Travis Ward, who is a Niner now, was like, our game plan for the Super Bowl was to give Jimmy Garoppolo the ball and put the ball in his hands. And even in this Super Bowl, you utilize Christian McCaffrey the entire season, and he's breaking records, and he's Offensive Player of the Year. But in the Super Bowl, and I'm not saying Brock is bad, but in the Super Bowl, when you can run out clock and run the ball, which works for you all season, and it's what the Niners' way is, and it's what's been successful time and time again for the 49ers offense, you're like, let's not run the ball. Let's drop back with Brock Purdy and call passes where there's holes in the protection, and Chris Jones is, busting free, wide open, and getting after your quarterback because there's not, the play design. There's flaws in the play design. Really, Kyle? Like, really? And I'm not, like, there was obviously other mistakes, like the muff punt and things like that, but Kyle, you're quote unquote this offensive genius. I expect a little bit more from you. But yet, time and time again, now it's 3 Super Bowls where Kyle Shanahan has blown a 10-point lead. And that defense, you can't say it was the defense fault because it's like Mahomes, for example, and I compare Mahomes in a way to Michael Jordan. It's like if MJ is cold throughout the game, eventually MJ is going to get hot because that's what MJ is. He's a great player and he's going to get hot. And like at a certain point, MJ's gonna start hitting his shots. Even if he's missing all night, he's gonna start hitting his shots. And if time comes, like if MJ hit the game winner, I wouldn't be surprised. The same thing with Mahomes is that like he was struggling, sure, but at a certain point, like you can't expect your defense to shut out Mahomes for entire 4 quarters. There was a stat that I saw. Mahomes is 7 for 7 on game-winning drive. 7 for 7. He's 100% on when you need a game-winning drive or when the game is on the line. He's 7 for 7. That's how good Mahomes is. Like you remember that Bills game, that Bills and Chiefs playoff game?
Yeah.
13 seconds left. Any other game,
there was a shootout. It went into a shootout,
yeah.
and I think the change of the overtime rules really killed it.
13 seconds left in that Bills and Chiefs game. There's any other team, any other quarterback, you would be like, nah, there's no shot. Even Brady, like if I was a Patriots fan and you had 13 seconds left with Brady, I'd be like, that's tough. That's really hard. 13 seconds left.
But with Mahomes, you can do that.
With Mahomes, they did it. And like even if I was a Chiefs fan, I was like, I'm not even a Chiefs fan, but I remember watching that game and I was like, he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if he did it, and he pulled it off. That's how good Mahomes is, right?
Yeah,
so
Mahomes pulled the magic, but I think what people kind of take away from Andy Reid's coaching legacy was he didn't have that kind of quarterback to win you a championship. Like with McNabb, no offense to McNabb, but who did the Eagles had at wide receiver? I think that would have got the Eagles a championship.
They had T.O.
But that's it. But who else? They didn't have a number 2 guy. Like,
I mean, that's fair. I don't really know enough about that. I know that he made it to
I remember the days of Andy Reid. He was a master genius. He had the quarterback, which McNabb was pretty good. He was good enough to take you to the conference championship like 4 or 5 times in his career. Yeah. I don't think he was the problem. Like, okay, you got T.O. that got you guys over the hump, but they didn't even get another wide receiver to like put them over, So I think that's what Andy Reid's mistake was. And I'm hoping that this is the time where Kyle learns from his mistakes, because I think what's really kind of holding Kyle Shanahan is he overthinks too much. I think he just wants to stick with the passing game in the 4th quarter or 3rd or 4th quarter when it's unnecessary. When your defense is holding up that offense, you're getting so many opportunities.
I mean, we've been saying that. Yeah, we've been saying that for years, though. Kyle sometimes, overthinks. But, like, I mean, Kyle, like, the whole fan base has been saying that for years. And at a certain point, like, you gotta hear at least some of it. Like, Kyle, you overthink. And even, like, internally, you should kind of know that in a way. Like, you know what? Sometimes I do overthink in certain situations. But then you look at the presser. Kyle's like, I think it was the right call on 3rd down and run a play action pass. Or I think this was a good call. I think it was looking at, like, Kyle never is like, you know what? I fricked up. Like, I fricked up on that play. We shouldn't have run it. Or it didn't work out. Like, no, Kyle continues. Yes, he overthinks, but then he also is like, I thought it was best, and I thought we did this right, and I thought, and I'm like, but it didn't work out for you, Kyle, right? And it didn't work out for you. And Andy Reid, like, the thing about Andy Reid is that eventually Eagles fans got frustrated because, like, you made it to multiple NFC Championship games, you made it to Super Bowls, and Eagles fans, like, they weren't ever able to get it done, and Andy Reid he got fired. And when will, like, my question is, like, when will that point be with Kyle? Is that, like, the fan base obviously likes you because compared to what Chip Kelly and Jim Tom Sula were, they suck. Like, they were garbage, right? So from that, you definitely raise the bar and expectations. But at a certain point, now this is like a couple of years where you've been good, yet you still haven't been able to get it done with a good team. So when will the final straw be? Because Eagles fans, like, as much as they thought Andy Reid was a genius and they liked him, after a couple of years, like, it had to be frustrating for them because multiple NFC Championship game appearances, a Super Bowl, and you weren't able to get it done even once. And now it's kind of like with Kyle Shanahan, where multiple NFC Championship game appearances, weren't able to get it done. Super Bowl, twice weren't able to get it done. Both times you had a lead. When will 49ers fans, because there's already some 49ers fans that are like, we're done with Kyle Shanahan. Some are like, we'll give him another year. I feel like we should give him another year. But when is kind of enough is enough, because Kyle, like, you have a good enough roster, yet you aren't able to get it done. And now you can't even say Jimmy Garoppolo, because your quarterback isn't a weakness. Your quarterback is a strength for this team. He was in the MVP conversation. So, like, when will 49ers fans kind of in a way be like, Kyle, when is enough is enough? Because like you have a talented team and you still aren't able to win the big game.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's always been like the same exact thing with Kyle. And I think I think when you see with Kyle, I don't think we kind of look at the offensive line as the problem, but this year it was. Do you think we're going to double in this year on some O line, or you think we're probably just going to go with best available in the first round?
I mean, first round, it depends on who's there, but even then, hey Gavin,
Yeah, GAV,
the
notorious
notorious,
GAV.
yep. How you doing, Gavin? Hope you're doing well. I mean, the offensive line. I mean, like I said, the way that Kyle Shanahan addressed free agency, he was simply addressing the defense and didn't address the offense much. And the funny thing is, like, Kyle really likes getting good tight end twos. He tried to grab that guy from the Lions who could block well. Forgot his name, but like Kyle prioritizes his tight end two, which is like cool, Kyle. But can you adjust the right side of the offensive line a little bit more? But like I said, the way that Kyle Shanahan addressed free agency, it doesn't feel like he seems like the offensive line is a weakness. Yeah, I feel like he thinks the offensive line is fine. He's not really worried about the offensive line. So, like I said, I would hope the Niners draft an offensive lineman, or at least, even if it's not in the first round, draft an offensive lineman, in the second or third. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners didn't end up drafting an offensive lineman in the first or even second round, because that's not a position that Kyle Shanahan feels like is a need. So, at least according to Kyle, it isn't. So,
I think I agree with Notorious GAV when it comes to the tight end position. I think everybody's kind of thinking we need to address it. Like, we were getting Brock Wright at one point, and then it didn't
that's the
work.
guy, yeah, Brock Wright.
Yeah, but I think just like how Gavin said, people are sleeping on Braden Willis. I think
Yeah,
that's that. I
I
think that's
agree with you, Gav. I think people are sleeping on Braden Willis, but at the same time, my only question is if the 49ers wanted to bring in Brock Wright for 3 year, $12 million, I feel like Kyle might think that Braden Willis and Cam Latu might not be ready as of yet. Now, obviously, going into training camp, you have an opportunity to prove to the coaches, if you deserve a spot on the roster, if you deserve opportunity. So that's your opportunity to show to the coaches what's up. But I mean,
what happened? Guess reception issues. Oh, so we just signed a veteran tight end, Eric Schober. Yeah, I just looked at him. Yeah, he's a back. He's probably more of Let's see. Thoughts on Schobert? I think we just signed him for camp body purposes. I don't know. I think he's more of a blocker. Do you guys think Niners can make it back to the Super Bowl? The question between is, bro, can we actually stay healthy? I don't know. It's kind of hard to return to the Super Bowl after you lose a Super Bowl. You have to accumulate the similar talent. You have to accumulate a little bit better this time around. If we can get a better draft class, if we can, I guess reception issues. If we can get a better draft class this year, I feel like we do have the talent to get to the conference championship, but I'm not gonna speak too far on Super Bowl yet. I'm not like the Cowboy fans. I'm not like the Raider fans. I'm not gonna say we're going to the Super Bowl. I don't think we are. I think we have to get past. Oh, what happened? Hey, what really happened? The reception?
laptop died on me. I saw the notification, plug in your charger, and then a second later
Oh
it
yeah,
died on me. So
yeah, he's back, guys. I guess the charge team, but yeah, we did sign this tight end Eric Schober. Yeah,
Eric Schober, I think it was Texans or Broncos. I don't
no,
remember exactly,
he
but I saw
said
both.
Steven, he said that it had something to do with his laptop. Like it had to do with being short on the chargers or something like that. Yeah. No, but we did get the tight end, but I think he's more of a camp body. Maybe he is a blocking tight end. Eric Schobert.
I
He
mean, I
just
do think that Brayden Willis has a better opportunity to be the tight end too, because he's obviously not like Brock Wright would be signed to a 3 year 12 million, and I think that's a guy that you would start like kind of like in a way like Ambry Thomas because of not necessarily where you drafted him, but because how much money you're giving to him. So I think Brock Wright would have had like it would be harder for Brayden Willis to start if you ended up snagging away Brock Wright from the Lions, but with this Schobert signing, I think you have a pretty. I think Brayden Willis has an opportunity. I think he has a good opportunity to capitalize and be the tight end too, but he obviously has to earn it and he has to impress Kyle and John enough to do so.
yeah. I think this is the year you're going to see him leap a little bit. So he's because he did get some snaps late in the season, so he got to do more as a blocker.
I mean, that's it. If you want to be in the Kyle Shanahan offense and be a
Yeah,
starter, you have to be a good blocker. You have
yeah,
to.
yeah. And I think that's the step. I think that's the learn. I think if you look at Brayden Willis's rookie year, it was more like a learning curve because if he blocked, which he's been doing throughout the season, he actually is going to earn more opportunities. But Eric Schobert, I don't know. He seems like a camp body. I don't know. I look at his production, doesn't seem like, wow, maybe he is a blocking tight end, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that showcase a lot. Yes, yeah, CG. I had a few snaps later in the season. Yeah, he did pretty well on some of those plays where he pancaked some of the defenders and made some nice key blocks. But some people are going to take away what he did at the Super Bowl where the penalty was called. But either way, we still got the first down the next drive. So I look at it more like it's a learning experience.
No,
But
I mean we saw with Aaron Banks also. He had that first year; it was a learning experience. He was inactive for most of the games, and you're like, dude, he's our second rounder. Why isn't he
yeah, why
playing?
we
Why is he
redshirt
even?
him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
why is he rich? But then the next year he ended up starting, and he was. I think I don't know if he was a Pro Bowler, but he definitely wasn't. Bad for the 49ers. He was actually pretty good for the 49ers. So I mean, Kyle does that. He does sometimes redshirt rookies, and maybe Brayden Williams will be end up being the tight end too if he ends up, at least being improving his blocking a little bit.
yeah. Well, speaking of it, bro, we can go into the draft and do a little mock draft if you want to.
Sure. Like I told you backstage, CG, you gotta hit me with some of the prospects. You gotta
Oh yeah,
you
I
gotta you
will.
gotta inform me.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Let's see, share screen. Actually, we got to do it differently on this one. All right, we'll do it this way. Share tab. Sometimes I hate how my web is too. I don't blame you. Like I get that stuff too with my internet. Okay, let me see if I can get a better. Let me see if I get a better image out of it first. Okay, so we got it in, so we probably have to do it this way. Okay, I think this might work better. Do you see it or no?
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Okay, so I think we're good. Okay. All right, we're gonna start this seven. We're gonna start this mod draft and do a little 7 round. Hey, I guess Cardcast is checking how you doing, and I guess all the messages are coming in, and we'll definitely get more into the draft details. But I'll give you some options to look to, because I've been a draft. I just follow the draft a lot over the years, dude. That's what I do. I guess you could say I'm like a draft geek when it comes down to it.
I mean, like I said, I was on a stream with Cardcast. Shout out to Cardcast who's in the chat right now. But dude, with school, man, like I mean, I don't have time to study all the prospects and do all that. Like I've studied, try to memorize, textbooks and things like that for high school. So the draft, I'm not, the strongest with the draft on my, draft insight.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with, especially in school. But I'm pretty sure there's some guys in high school who talk about the draft too. I mean, but I guess you get more focus on the books more, which is
Yeah.
understandable. Yeah, I think what's gonna give us an idea. So we'll go with best available, or we'll go with offensive line or whatever position you prefer. But yeah, there is options here. But I do kind of like this game a little bit sometimes because we get a different perspective out of it and see which one we want to get.
We got. Let's see. I want to see what offensive linemen are still available because I remember doing this draft with Carcast and like there was like the offensive linemen were pretty much off the board. Like at least the ones that were I would have taken, or I've seen in mocks were pretty much off the board completely. So
Yeah, there has been those mock drafts with Chop Robinson, but he's already taken by the Dolphins on this draft.
dang,
Kool-Aid's
okay. I
gone.
mean, as long as it's not the
My
Rams, because I've heard Rams fans want Chop, and I do not want Chop Robinson in a Rams uniform.
Oh yeah, he would be pretty good for them because I think he would be more of a better pass rusher than the next level, and I think the Rams just need somebody to complement Byron Young or something.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Worthy's gone, which I don't think we're gonna get him, but I think he would be a good fit in Buffalo. Ooh, Lions don't need a center, but I guess they can get somebody.
Lions?
But yeah, Jackson,
I mean,
he would have to play guard or something.
yeah.
Ooh,
A
okay.
trade?
No, we're not gonna do trades on
Yeah,
this
I'm
one.
good.
So okay, so here's your options. So I'm gonna let you do your decision on this one. Johnny Newton from Illinois, he's a good D tackle. Byron Murphy the second, a good D tackle for Texas. No way in hell we're getting Bo Nix, man. Hell no.
I'm good. I don't want Bo Nix. I'll pass on that. Hard pass.
Yeah, Keon Coleman, a big tall receiver who can catch the ball from Florida State. Kingsley Samatia, I don't know how you say his name, but he's available. Jordan Morgan, which we all know Jesse Naylor is so high on this guy.
Yeah, I was about to say
I think he can play guard
Jesse's
too.
high on Morgan.
Yeah, and then Christian Haynes, Tyler Newbin, and Darius Robinson are up there. There's even Tavondre Swift, his value is going to drop a little bit because he got busted.
Is Kool-Aid still
TJ
available?
Tampa,
Kool-Aid probably isn't available,
he's
is
gone.
he? He's gone?
No, he's not available. He's been gone. Like watch, Kool-Aid was taken by the Eagles.
Dang, okay. Okay, that makes sense. James Bradbury is, let's just be nice, but yeah, but he is not it. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's go Jordan Morgan. Well, let's go Jordan Morgan because Jesse's high on Jordan Morgan. So let's go Jordan Morgan. I mean, I heard from Jesse he has small arms, but
I'm with it.
I mean,
I'm with it. You know why? I'm with it because he can even move the guard if they wanted him to. So I don't think he can. He might even be the best heir apparent to sit behind. Like he could either beat out McKivitz or even be the guard. Yeah.
Gavin had a question, if you don't mind if I answer.
Yeah, I'll look it up right now. What did Gavin say? Doing my bad. I'm back again. Carcast Trend. Okay. Here you go.
First off, Gavin, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, and glad you're doing well as well. I mean, I definitely, I was hoping he would take the pay cut, and I'm glad he did take the pay cut. But at the same time, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't surprised that he took the pay cut because the Niners are like one of the few teams that really utilize the fullback position in their offense. So I mean, like Kyle, if you honestly speaking, Kyle Juszczyk, if you really left the 49ers and went somewhere else, would you really have as big of a role as you have on the Niners? Because you're really integral in the running game. You get a couple of passes we see from time to time with the 49ers. So like you get utilized here. You get love, Kyle Juszczyk. You get love with the 49ers. So, I mean, I'm glad he took the pay cut. I'm glad he's back on this team. But, I mean, if you really left Juszczyk and went somewhere else, would you get the same? Would you really get the love that you get from the 49ers somewhere else? Because not a lot of teams utilize the fullback position. So, I'm glad he's back on this team. I was really happy, especially after the Armstead news that he left. I was glad. I was kind of relieved and felt, a sign of relief that we got him back. But, yeah, I'm glad he's back on this team, and I was hoping that he took the pay cut, but I wasn't surprised either by it. And also, this is a Super Bowl team. Like, this is a team that just came off the Super Bowl. So why would you want to leave this squad? You have Kittle, who's your bro.
Yeah, and his wife's gonna start becoming very successful, so I don't think money's the issue with him.
No, that's true, Gav. He's earned that love. I'm not gonna say that he hasn't. He's definitely earned that love. I still remember. I still like go to Niners games and Kyle Juszczyk's name gets announced like during when they come out of that little tunnel thing that they have, and the Niners fans they love Kyle Juszczyk. he's definitely earned that love for sure. So I'm not saying that he's not deserving or earned, or he doesn't deserve that money or the love that he gets from 49ers fans. He definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, I think because fullbacks are not that too valuable, so that's probably why he knows he has no other choice but to stay here. Maybe it's because loyalty, like you said, but I think when it's all said and done, you have to look at it this way: there's fullbacks is not too valuable in today's NFL like it used to be. Juszczyk is a perfect fit to our offense. He's been very
He
good.
is. He is. Yep.
But I
He's definitely a
think he
perfect
knows
fit.
his value, and I think he wants to stay here because he knows he's going to be a part of a good winning culture. And his wife's going to start hitting off on the what is it the clothing business, so she's going to start being more successful. So I don't think Kyle is too concerned about money.
That's
I
that's
think
that's
what
also
he I
another
think
point.
yeah. Oh, okay. So we're gonna look at best available. You already got Jordan Morgan, which that fits. He fits the tackle or the guard spot, which I think that's where we can probably use him more. Okay, so there's a wide receiver Troy Franklin, a D tackle Leonard Taylor from Miami, Michael Hall from Ohio State, a tight end Ben Sonat from Kansas State, Chris Jenkins Jr. from Michigan. I don't know about a running back, but Braden Fisk, Bill Braid from Maryland. Oh, Roman Wilson, and then the edge rusher from Oregon. There's a center that could probably take Brandle's job, but we ain't gonna go that route right now, so I don't think so. Oh, there's a Ricky Pearsall. There's Junior Colson. There's that guard from Boston College, Christian Malgona, and then there's my favorite receiver from my local area, Jalen McMillan, who's pretty. He's a sticky glue kind of guy. He's got good. He would be a good fit. There's that
Any
slot
ideas,
cornerback.
CB?
Yeah, there's a slot cornerback from Missouri that I think would be a good fit. You can put him outside or inside. He's versatile. But there's your selections of what you could look at.
I mean, we got the offensive line in the first round. I feel like another need would be cornerback. So any cornerbacks that you think the Niners that
Yeah, I'll look at
you've
it right
looked
now.
at?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it right now. Cornerback might be something that. Oh, let's see. Okay, Clayton Carson from Wake Forest, Chris Abrams Drain from Missouri. I really like this kid a little bit more. DJ James is the guy we met with before. Ronaldo Green seems like a sleeper. That guy from Michigan, I think he would be there in the third round. That Andre Phillips guy, you can probably get in the third round.
Yeah, that's a
But
little bit of a reach in the second.
so you want to look at edge rusher?
Edge, who's available?
Damn, it's not that deep on that part of the area. And so I guess D tackle would probably be the option.
D
So
tackle,
D
okay.
tackle, Leonard Taylor, Michael Hall, Chris Jenkins, Braden Fisk. I think you need somebody for the future and actually fit into our defense long term would be a good option. But
That's not a bad idea because you did lose Armstead. So D tackle would
and
definitely be a position of
yeah,
need.
and you have short term answers with those other guys, so you need somebody to step in the rotation too, and maybe he can be a starter late in the season.
Yep.
So here's your options: Leonard Taylor from Miami, Michael Hall from Ohio State, Chris Jenkins from Michigan, Braden Fisk from Florida State. He actually had one of the better combine performance. Actually,
Didn't he run like a four something? He had a
now
good
if you get
40.
this guy, he's got a motor.
Who
Four
Braden
seven,
Fisk,
yeah,
right?
4.7
Yeah,
speed. This guy's motor, yeah, Braden Fisk. This guy's motor. I don't want to go too far on the comparison, but I see a little bit of Justin Smith in his game a little bit. Like Justin Smith,
okay.
everybody looks at him as a DN, right? But imagine him play D tackle, right?
That's high
Just
praise. Let's go.
imagine
Let's
him
go
playing that
Braden
D
Fisk.
tackle.
Let's go Braden Fisk.
Yeah, the motor's just there. Yeah, Braden Fisk is a good one. He's been moving draft boards, and he's got a good. His motor doesn't stop. Then we can look at cornerbacks later. The third round or something. Yeah, he signed
Gavin had
some.
another one.
Oh yeah, they just got this guy dude. He's been too high on this guy from the, that guy from the rugbies or whatever he was playing at. The
The
Chiefs
Chiefs
signed
are
that guy.
already stacked, and like they don't need more players. And then I saw his 40 time, and he's a rugby player. Like, just no, I was not happy with the news. Gav, this was not good news at all. They freaking had signed Matt Ariza, who they call the punt god, and like you have a good punter now, like one of the best punters that people say, and then you also have a guy who can run a 4.43. So I mean, I don't know what it can amount to, but there's definitely some potential there. You lost Tyreek Hill, so I'm not saying that guy's Tyreek Hill whatsoever, but I mean, it wouldn't necessarily hurt. Like your running backs and your receivers on this team right now. Besides, I like Pacheco, but I mean, Rashi Rice in his situation, you don't really have that much at the receiver position. Hollywood Brown is good, but he misses a couple of games every year. He's inconsistent, so I mean, it could pan out for the Chiefs. There's definitely some potential there. But I definitely was not happy with the news because I mean the Chiefs won two back-to-back Super Bowls. I don't want them going for the three-peat and winning the three-peat. So yeah, I wasn't happy with that, but we'll see what it amounts to.
Yeah, I'm not really too
But
high on some of these
I do
guys
like
because
the
they.
fact I do like the fact that they're willing to take risks on guys. I do like the fact that Andy
Yeah,
Reid is willing to take risks on certain players. Like that's one thing I do like about Andy Reid is that I like the fact that he's not, necessarily opposed to sometimes signing players that other teams don't want or making risks. I like the fact that Andy Reid does go out and make risk and does go out to sign players, even if they have, sometimes little bit of high risk, because if it does end up panning out, it could end up benefiting the team. So I do like the fact that Andy Reid isn't closed minded like that.
yeah. But I'm okay with them getting chances too, so nothing against them. But like some of them, that's why you look at them as more as projects because they could either take some time to develop, or maybe they might be as good as that one guy from the Eagles. What's that dude's what's that dude's name? But he got a big contract with the Eagles now. But he was playing
Oh,
rugby.
Jordan Mailata.
Jordan Mailata, yeah, Jordan Mailata. I think that was a good risky project for them because he paid dividends, but still they're not a sure thing. There's some that have to take time to develop. We've had this tackle from Mexico for quite some time, and he just had like Gutierrez, Alfredo Gutierrez. He just hasn't really developed as we were hoping for. We would think a few years would be good enough for him to actually make a leap, but nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all in for all players, so it's not like I look at the draft and I look at I want guys who can actually contribute. I'm not trying to wait on a project player, If he's good okay, so let's say if it was on a situation with Trent Williams, then yeah, okay, maybe I'll take a flyer on this project guy. Maybe he might pick up some pointers from Trent before he retires, and maybe he might be the guy. Then I'd probably be fine with that. But if we're just going to get somebody and just waste on a roster spot, then I'm not cool with that. Because what are we getting out of that player? If he's not going to be used on the field, then we wasted a roster spot.
Yeah.
Just like how Kyle Shanahan wastes his roster spots on them running backs. All right, well, let's look at the mock draft. Okay, so we're going to go cornerback since you want to go check that route.
Let's go check cornerback. I feel like we need to add a DB to this team.
Yeah, I just thought they weren't really good value. Oh, see, now this is where you can get yourself a pretty nice cornerback. So third round, Ronaldo Green from Florida State. The kid from Michigan I really like. I think he's a good nickel corner. Josh Newton's pretty solid, but Andre Phillips has kind of been moving up draft boards recently, and he's got good coverage skills. Then you got this tall, lengthy cornerback from Oregon. Cam Hart is like a pretty solid cornerback. And that's pretty much the third round reaches you can go for.
I've heard of Josh Newton. I've heard of Josh Newton out of TCU.
Okay.
So I'm kind of leaning Josh Newton.
Okay, Josh Newton for that one. I think he might be a good option. I mean, okay.
Is Malik Washington still available? Is Malik Washington still available?
Oh, I'll check. Let me check. You should have just told me. You should have told me. You should tell me, man. Oh, actually, He's still available.
Okay.
He's
Let's
still
hope
available.
he falls to 134.
Let's pray.
CG called him the pick before he made the final decision.
You want to go cornerbacks? I gave you.
That's fair. That's fair. You know, I did want to go cornerback. But then I saw Malik Washington was still available.
When you give me that signal, I go with your signal.
That's
I
fair.
just go.
That's fair. That's true. I mean, it was my
You
bad.
press,
It was
you
my
press
bad.
the button. You press the button, so I go with the button says.
That's fair. That's fair. That was on me. Malik Washington might fall. Is he falling?
He's gonna fall. I think you might get him in this spot where we're at. I'd be surprised if he gets drafted a little earlier. I think
there's
the
another
teams
receiver taken on the board. So
Tennessee and maybe the Giants. Oh, Giants got Brandon Rice.
Okay, Giants took Brendan. Okay.
Jermaine Burton's probably going to be a good receiver also too, but Brandon Rice is probably going to move up draft boards. Oh, the tight end from Texas. I can see why he's dropping in the 4th round because he's not quite a blocker. He's more like he can play the slot receiver just like a Jennings would, but he's a tight end. Cade Stover, I think this is where oh shit, Washington got drafted.
Yeah, come on, Saleh. Come on, Robert Saleh. Why are you taking my guy?
Well, there is a good option we can get.
I'm still grieving from that pick. Like I hated that Saleh just took my guy.
But you wanted a cornerback. If you wanted Washington, I would have got him. But you kind of like went with the flow, man. Actually,
that was my Kyle Shanahan pick.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan goes with somebody, and then he just realized, oh shoot, I could have got him right
there. I shouldn't have done that.
Hey, I guess you pulled the Kyle Shanahan on this pick. This makes sense on the Kyle Shanahan pick.
And it was a 3rd rounder.
Yeah. Oh, so you got a cornerback. So I don't think that's a bad choice. I mean,
yeah, I see Luke McCaffrey. I see a McCaffrey. So should we pair up the McCaffrey brothers on the same team?
You want to go that route, or do you want to go with this kid Baker? I've heard good things.
I've heard of Javon Baker as well. Those are the 2 guys that I'm back and forth with right now.
Well, there is the better USC receiver, Washington, but it's just Rice is getting all the hype.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, I mean, Jerry Rice's son. I mean, it makes sense.
Makes sense for sure. Ooh. Okay, so you want to pick wide receiver, or do you want to get my favorite guy, the McCormick guy?
McCormick? What position?
Oh, he's a guard and center.
Mason McCormick? All right, draft. I mean, that's good positional value, so I would do that. I think you could get McCaffrey, or Baker a little bit later. I think you could wait. But if Mason McCormick,
I think 131 or 135 McCaffrey will be there. So
yeah, I think
Mason McCormick,
and he looks like the best value pick. Sometimes you got to go with the best value pick.
Yeah.
So let's go Mason McCormick.
Go with the 99 cents. See, that's what I like about this one. I think, matter of fact, you know how the Niners are. We're going to double in some stuff too. You want to go tight end, or do you want to go another tackle just to make sure they solidify the shit?
Let's see who's tight end. Let's see what tight ends are available.
Okay. We'll look at tight end. Let's see. Theo Johnson, Jarrett Wiley, Jaheim Bell, Eric All.
Theo Johnson has great athleticism. Who do I go with? I'm gonna go with Theo Johnson from Penn State. I think he has potential and upside, and he has great athleticism. From what I've heard from like the guy, I heard Ryan G. Hensley said Theo Johnson had great athleticism on one of his pods. So let's go Theo Johnson.
Okay, we'll go Theo Johnson, but we gotta hope that the Ravens don't get him. Oh, they got Hunt.
Chiefs, like don't do that, Chiefs. Don't do it. Like Saul already sold our last pick. All right, thank you, Chiefs. Appreciate y'all for not taking our guy.
They did Yeah, Theo Johnson. Okay, Theo Johnson, you got it. And then we can go with McCaffrey next. Pretty sure McCaffrey will be there.
Yeah, McCaffrey's still available.
Yeah, he'll be available unless the Bucks are gonna. Oh, they got the Solomon kid. So, so here's your selection: Javon Baker or Luke McCaffrey.
See, I'm gonna
You
go
really want to pair
McCaffrey.
the brothers for
I'm
real?
gonna get McCaffrey for the brother pairing because I feel like having a brother on your team motivates you to be better. Someone that'll push you, every single day. I'm gonna go McCaffrey.
Okay, I got him. Yeah, I got him for you. Now we'll just see what's best available. But we have to wait later. So yeah, I guess looking at your mock drafts, I do like how you got those picks. They look pretty nice.
I'm
Yeah, that's
not
pretty
gonna lie
nice
to you.
picks.
This is like an uneducated draft, but it is what it is. Like I feel like the picks that we've made so far haven't been bad. They haven't been bad.
They haven't been bad. Oh, I mean, look at it this way. If you saw what I did the other day, I mean Danielle had to learn how to do this too, and she kind of enjoyed it. So she really enjoyed the mock draft, and she's starting to get into it now. So maybe the way I help some of you guys, I educate you on some of those techniques of what you look at value picks. But okay, so we want to look at the like okay, so you got yourself a starting caliber tackle. Maybe he can play guard or just stick at tackle and replace Trent Williams. You get yourself a D tackle. You get Braden Fisk, who can probably be nice on your rotation, be the long term solution. Cornerback Josh Newton will either be a nice, valuable depth, or maybe he might make a leap towards being our starter.
Could
You
take
get
Andy's
yourself a
spot.
nice value in the. You get Mason McCormick, who could potentially move to center and actually replace Brendo or play guard. That's a nice value. And then Theo Johnson, tight end's pretty deep. Luke McCaffrey, now it's going to be some McCaffrey drama.
Yeah.
Like who's the better McCaffrey? you know that Christian looks more like his mother than Luke looks like his dad.
Like
If you
I'm
notice
not
the
gonna lie to
looks.
you. I did not know. Like I knew McCaffrey had a brother, but then like I found out Luke when when you're talking about it during the Super Bowl because people were interviewing him during the Senior Bowl. But like I knew what's his name. What's his name? McCaffrey had a brother that used to be on the 49ers, and he's just been bouncing around teams. Forgot his name, but yeah, McCaffrey had another brother.
Yeah, he did. He was actually playing quarterback. Then he had to switch positions.
Yeah, I feel like he was on the Niners for one point, and then he bounced around to like the Packers, Niners. I forgot his name, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, McCaffrey's brother. Like, there's been histories of the McCaffreys because you had the other McCaffrey who was on our roster for a short minute, then he just ended up being a
Yeah.
coach. Forget his damn name, but he was another McCaffrey that came from Duke. We had him on our roster for a little bit, and then he just got
I think
cut, and then he's a coach now.
it was like Matt. I think I forgot what was it, Max
Max
or
McCaffrey.
Dylan? Yeah.
Max McCaffrey. I think Dylan is still in the lead or something. I don't know. But I know Luke McCaffrey is projected to be a nice, solid receiver, so he could be a nice situational receiver. Yeah, looks like we have to see how this plays out, but I'm gonna check see what comes available. But okay, so I think we have addressed it pretty much everything. But you want to get an edge rusher, or do you want to get a linebacker? I think those are the two spots, or
What picks
safety.
have we made so far? What picks have we made so far?
Okay, I'll look at it right now. All right, I'm gonna go check it right now. We're not even getting okay. So you want to look at the picks so far? Okay,
Yeah, our picks
I
so
got
far.
you. Okay, Jordan Morgan, we agree on that part. Braden Fisk,
All
we
right,
agreed
offensive
on.
lineman. Yeah.
Josh Newton, I kind of understood why you went that route. Mason McCormick, I definitely agree with you 100% on that one. Theo Johnson, I'm cool with that pick. Luke McCaffrey, I guess that kind of made it so interesting, maybe more of a drama offseason. I mean, there's other options, but ooh, I was told by this guy if he's available, what a
Pick
steal.
31. Truth shall set you free. It's
If
pick
it,
31.
ooh, So we're getting close to our picks, but this could either be a steal or a Kyle Shanahan pick.
Isaac
So we
Garenda.
got to make it sound. Yeah, it could be, or maybe not. Hopefully, somebody takes him. But I think this is probably the best spot to get him, actually. And I can see this as a potential pick because he's a speedy back, and he would fit really well in our outside zone run.
Kyle, you don't even utilize any of your running backs besides Christian McCaffrey.
That's the
Kyle,
problem.
and then like when
At
it's like
least
the Super Bowl, you don't even use Christian McCaffrey. So like Kyle.
So what's the point? But knowing Kyle, he's
Kyle.
gonna want that guy. He's gonna want that guy. Oh shoot! Damn Chiefs.
Bro, I still remember when Ty Davis Price got drafted in the 3rd round. We traded up, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Chiefs
we about to draft. We about to draft an offensive lineman or something, and we ended up drafting Ty Davis Price.
Yeah. So okay. So here's the best available value: Keith Randolph Jr., Isaac Garendo, and Cedric Johnson, the pass rusher from Ole Miss, a safety Evan Williams. Tommy Eckenberg from Ohio State, linebacker. There's a linebacker from Notre Dame. There's an edge rusher from Washington.
Who's the best edge available?
Oh, okay. Best edge available. If you want to go by production wise, I like Kamara better. But I think Johnson's more of a natural, so he would be a nice fit. But okay, Cedric Johnson, he's a solid productive guy. The guy from Washington's pretty decent. But I like Kamara's upside better.
Okay, let's go Kamara with Chris Kasarik. I feel like the best defensive line coach. And Kamara doesn't have to start right away, so Kamara.
I think he would be perfect. Yeah, get Kamara. Hey, I agree on this one for once. Yeah, I agree on this part. Yeah, this is a good value.
I don't want Isaac Garendo on this team. Like, no disrespect, but he's not gonna get used. So, like, no.
What if he slides to our 6th round pick? Do we get him?
211, I'll take it, fine. But like not in the 5th round when I could get better positional value. Like, there's no way.
Hey, what if they just keep having us get that kid? And we have no other option but to get him.
And like I honestly I could picture draft day, like we end up drafting a running back and then we end up drafting Isaac Garendo on top of drafting a running back.
Oh yeah, what pick do Niners come in 1st round? 31st.
31 pick. Yeah.
Yeah, 31 pick. Yeah, 31 pick, but yeah, you don't want the Garendo guy. Let me see if somebody took him. Maybe you could throw a champagne on this one. But hey, what if he turns out good? What if he ends up being like what's his name? What's that dude's name? Because he was on Isaiah Pacheco. What if he ends up being like that
Pacheco?
guy?
But Pacheco gets opportunities, CG. Pacheco gets opportunities.
That's true, but come on, like I think the football gods want Garendo to be a Niner so bad, so they're letting them slide.
Watch, Garendo's going to end up being drafted by the 49ers, and then he's going to end up getting released, and he's going to end up getting signed by like the Eagles, who always sign like our backup running backs that we get in the draft that we don't use. He might get a couple of games with the Eagles, and then it is what it is.
Oh, he'll be just like another Trey Sermon, I guess.
Trey Sermon or Ty Davis Price, like it's just
But this time he's not gonna be drafted earlier, so maybe he might have
That's true.
He might have a Mitchell career. We'll see.
Garendo's gone.
Nah, he's still here.
By 211, he's gonna be gone.
I think so. We'll see.
Watch the Eagles draft Garendo. Okay, they did it.
Oh, they got Trey Taylor. They got the guy I just interviewed. I interviewed that kid from Air Force. He's a good kid. Oh shoot!
What's up, Philly special cards? I checked out your channel the other day. I like the content. I like the content.
Yeah. But he just said, but I don't think you guys passed on him. You got Trey Taylor, the guy I interviewed from the Air Force.
Listen, if you really want him that badly, y'all can have him. Like, once we draft him, and then once he gets released from our team, then y'all can get him.
Yeah, y'all can have him. But seriously,
you might have to wait a little bit. You might have to wait.
How the hell is Garendo still there?
He's like the best available as he's like.
He's
Okay,
the best
okay,
available 160. So if he's there at 211, okay, we're gonna have to take him. I'm sorry, we might have to.
There's no way he falls. Like on CG, there's no way he falls from
I
211.
know. I know. He's not gonna fall. Seattle would have to take him, or the Falcons and Rams would.
He can't fall all the way that down. Like there's no way.
There's no way. But if he does, like you said, we'll take him. But if not, we're good then. But I think Atlanta's gonna take him. Atlanta or the Rams or maybe the Saints. It's got to be one of those two teams. The Rams are going to want him. The Bills, dude, there's got to be a way he's going to be dropping. He is going to be gone, bro. I'm pretty damn sure he's gone, bro. He can't be staying best available forever.
Yeah, he's not. That's
he can't stay forever.
I don't know why, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by Joe Milton. I don't know why, but watching the
project, yeah, a guy that you can maybe develop.
Maybe right when I said that, right when I say that, the Broncos have to take him. Right when I say that.
Well, he's intriguing because he doesn't have to play right away. He can develop.
Nah, did you see the combine clip, CG? The combine clips of him throwing like freaking 70
arm?
yards. Yeah, I mean, whew.
But he's not. I think he's gonna get drafted a little higher than that.
I mean, with the combine performance, wouldn't be surprised.
Ooh, man, nobody's getting Guerrero. I'm surprised. What did Guerrero do? Did he fail a drug test? Because he ran a fast 40 time.
It's almost like the mock draft wants us to draft Guerrero. Like, it's almost like they want him to end up being a 49er.
That's what it sounds like. He's still there. There's still a chance. Uh-oh. There's still a chance. Maybe the Raiders and Broncos will take him.
Okay.
Jay Stanley they took. Oh, the Raiders are actually going to get him. I think Raiders are going to get him. Raiders, Rams, and Eagles. There's no way Guerrero. Oh, Guerrero went to the Raiders. I can see that.
No.
He goes to the Raiders. Actually, Raiders vision more speed, actually.
Raiders picked up the draft. Yeah, they picked up our entire draft. Our entire draft got ruined just because of that pick. Like, it's done.
You didn't want him.
Kyle, you should have traded up, Kyle. Kyle, you have to get John on the phone, and you should have traded up, Kyle. I blame
That's
Kyle.
That's what Kyle would have said. He would have been pissed and said, "God damn it!"
You should have traded up, John. You should have traded up for my guy Guerrero. I told you he wouldn't fall to us.
Oh man, he's probably pissed to say, "Okay, Kyle, you can get yourself a running back. Sorry, that dude's not there no more. Sorry."
Blake Watson, he just got drafted by the Eagles.
Eagles, yeah.
That would have been my next one. That would have been my next one.
There's the kid from Boise State. There's that guy from UCLA. Those are good options. How about the one that was playing behind Guerrero? He's good. Then Kyle's gonna be like, "Nah, I'm good." Let's see what's available.
We got a safety. Do we draft a safety yet or no?
Oh no, we haven't even got there yet. We can go look for a safety round. Okay. So Mark Perry, Dominic Hampton, Demini Richardson, Ryan Watts, Al Wilcox, Miller, Bradford, Jalen Simpson, Dejan Anthony. There's Jalen K. There's Trey Fluid.
You got any insight? You got any insight on any safeties this late or nah?
Thomas Harper. I think he's kind of intriguing. I'll look him up. Thomas Harper might be a good value. He won't start right away, but he'd at least be a nice guy on special teams. Yeah, he kind of seems like a decent player. Not somebody that's going to start right away for us. He was just a good tackler, but not a very productive guy in college. Yeah, he ran a pretty solid 40 time. Want to get Thomas Harper? Do you want to get the kid from A&M?
Let's go Harper. He seems like the best value pick.
He might even be a good steal in that spot. So yeah, he ran a 4.48, so that's pretty solid for a safety. We don't want slow safeties, but that's solid. So we can pick any other position now. We got two options to pick whatever we want. I think
is Frank Gore Jr. still on the board? Is Frank Gore Jr. still on the board? It might be a read. Is he still there? he
He
might
might
have
still
already
be
gotten
there.
drafted. He might have already gotten drafted. So I'm like, we'll see. Is he still
Nah,
up
he
on
ain't
there?
even drafted. He's listed in the 300 or 400 rankings. He ain't getting drafted.
I wouldn't be surprised, CG.
Oh, Bengals, you son of a damn Bengals. I love that guy, that McMahon guy. Oh my God, I would have loved to have that guy. Let's see. Okay, you want to look at Frank Gore Jr.? I'm telling you, he ain't drafted. I'm going to tell you right now. You can get him on the last pick in the spot.
I think this is
Hey,
your
did we
last
get
pick
a
in the draft.
linebacker? No, actually,
We
the 251.
we did it.
Okay, so matter of fact, we'll get Frank Gore Jr. and then we can pick any linebackers. Fair enough.
That's fair. That's
Because I
fair.
still think we still need to get a linebacker. I don't think we need him to compete over. See, there's not like I think he's right. Oh yeah, he's right
He's
here. See, he's
okay.
not
He's
drafted.
476. Yee. Okay. All right, Franco
Telling
Jr. It is.
you, want to just get the linebacker then get him?
Let's get the
He's
linebacker.
gonna
Let's
be
get the
there.
linebacker because you could get Frank Gore Jr. with your last pick.
Yeah, because I don't think nobody has him as a high grade. You know, okay, linebacker. Omer Spade from LSU, Jackson Mitchell. But here's what could happen. We got what's his name? KJ Wright. KJ Wright's pounding the table to the front office to get Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State because he played at the same college ball with him, and he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, Nathaniel
That's a good
Watson.
player.
It is. That's good insight, CG.
Yeah, KJ Wright's already pounding the table for this because we got him on our coaching
All
staff.
right,
He's gonna say,
and
"Yeah, let's get him."
yeah.
Yeah, Watson's a good player. He would be a nice depth
CG,
piece.
I'm liking the way this draft is coming along. I'm liking the way this
Oh
draft is
yeah.
coming along.
Yeah, you can take a picture of it if you want after we get done with it. Yeah, you could just show everybody that we did this mock draft together. I might do a couple of these mock drafts together with certain content creators like you and others so we can get a different perspective. And the best part was I didn't even disagree with none of those. I actually was just going along with it, just see how you look at it. I think even for beginners for you this year's draft, I think you did pretty nice.
We need a running back. CG. We got to complete tradition. It is tradition to draft a running back for absolutely no reason every single
But
draft. So we have to complete the
this is the
tradition.
perfect spot to get one actually without even a reason, and this won't hurt us.
That's true. That's true.
If you get him in the 5th or 6th round, it's not really going to hurt us for no reason because they might even turn out to be like another Mitchell.
That's true.
It's only late rounds that we find good running backs actually. Yeah, Frank Gore Jr. Here we come. Kendall Milton. I'm going to have a chance to interview that kid at that football camp over there down in Clovis. So I want to get to meet him. His dad gave me the invitation over there. Now that's a guy who can probably play fullback. Raiders get another running back. So instead of Garendo, they got 2? Good Lord.
They did do it a Kyle Shanahan special.
No, but they're doubling it this time. Long as they don't get Frank Gore Jr., then we're good. Frank Gore Jr. would be the specialty, the last pick specialty that turns out to be. Maybe we're hoping he can be the Brock Purdy of this
Philly,
draft.
you don't need all of our guys, Philly. Like you don't need. You already have Sermon. You already have TDP. Like you don't need all of our guys, man. Like it's okay. You'll get them maybe after we get rid of them, but you don't need to draft them. Like we don't. Yeah, we ain't doing that.
Yeah, and then the draft room. Frank Gore's already suggesting he's telling the front office, get my son. You're gonna love him.
I mean, it would make sense. That would make sense.
Frank is probably gonna pound the table and say, hey guys, just get him. But I bet you if Rice was in the draft room, he probably would have pushed for his son to get drafted too. Christian McCaffrey was pounding the table for Luke McCaffrey, of course. I heard George was pounding the table for Eric All from Iowa, but we didn't get that guy. That's a big offensive lineman from Howard. Yeah, that's a big boy. 375 freaking pounds. That's a big dude. Marcellus Dials, South Carolina. Seems like a project. I mean, let me see. Actually, I pushed the wrong button. Yeah, future. He's thinking that Gore's coming in. Yeah, that Texas dude got arrested. Yep. Actually, we're already like reaching to the final point. Yeah, we can probably just call it a day after the next next 10 minutes if you want, but we just get an idea of the draft. Good Lord. Did I miss something? So we got, Frank Gore's going to be available, but we got to wait. We got to wait until I think we got to wait 17 more, actually 16 more. Oh, actually 14 more picks to go, and then he's actually going to be available. Oh, snap. The picks are going to go quick now. Ryan Watts got drafted. The Panthers got that Smith. Josh Seifus is somebody we could have got to as another wide receiver, but it's okay. Let's see. Nugent, Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see who they get. They get a guy off the flea market. No, they get this guy, Temple guy. The Packers select. They select a Boston College guy, an offensive line, a guard that's probably like the other side of the position, because there was the other guy that was a high draft pick. Quentin Newsom to the Titans. The Eagles. See who they get. The Eagles select Cody Rhodes. I'm just playing. No, they get the safety from Washington.
For these special cards, you said, can Cam Kitchens play cornerback? I mean, looking up his stats, he had 59 tackles. Safety. He had 59 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, and 6 pass deflections, and he had 5 pass breakups.
He's more like a traditional safety. He's more of a traditional safety. I don't think he can play corner. Guess maybe, what, man? You wanted Frank Gore Jr. just to satisfy the running back pick, right?
Let's do it. It's tradition. It's tradition, CG.
Frank Gore has already just made a call to his son and said, "How do you like to be a Niner, son?" And he's crying in tears, and then they make the phone call to make it happen, and Frank Gore Jr. is officially a 49er. There you go. We get the similar draft reaction of what's his name, that Deuce Vaughn from last year's draft, where his dad was working the front office.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. We get Frank Gore Jr. That's a great story. Oh, back, yeah.
Great story. I think we had a solid draft.
Yeah, I don't think he could. I don't think Cam Kitchen could play corner. He's more of a traditional box safety. If you want a guy who can play the different roles, I think my boy Jay Stanley could do that, because he told me he's very versatile. Oh, you're back, man. Cool. All right, we're gonna show you the entire draft, and you tell me what you think of them. But I think we had a pretty good understanding of the team so far.
I think we had a good draft.
This is a lot of good draft. It was a lot of fun, for real.
I had a good time, CG. I had a good time.
I had a very good time. Even in the beginning, it was what it was. But hey, we got into the positive side. But hey, let's just talk about what we got out of these draft picks. Okay, we got Jordan Morgan, which Jesse Naylor's pounding the table, probably jumping off the damn pool or doing cartwheels. Shout out to Jesse Naylor if he does that.
We got the offensive lineman. We got the offensive lineman. We got the defensive lineman. We addressed corner. We got McCaffrey and Gore Jr. on the team. We got CG's guy Kamara.
Yeah, he's good. He's got that speed rush. If he gets properly coached by Kasarik, this guy can be deadlier. Kind of has the upside of he kind of reminds me more of Samson Ebicom a little bit. He's got raw potential. Thomas Harper, he's probably more of a depth guy. Nathaniel Watson would probably be a nice depth piece, but he might make a strong case for the roster, maybe beating out Flanagan Fowles and maybe push himself even more. This guy's the most productive linebacker in college football, and he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And then Frank Gore Jr., this even makes the draft pick even special.
I still remember CG that you had Spencer Burford on, and I remember seeing it on my YouTube thing, on my YouTube feed. I was like, CG's interviewing this guy named Spencer Burford, and then draft time comes, and then we end up drafting Spencer Burford, and I'm like, is that the same Spencer Burford the CG interviewed? And I was like,
Yeah,
oh my goodness, it is.
it is. It is possible. It is very possible because I think there's, I'll be a spoiler. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. I'm going to give you my bold prediction. I think there's going to be a certain player I interview that's going to be a Niner, but I'm going to tell you what's the. I got a good idea. I know who can be the perfect Niner. So if this happens, if we get another Spencer Burford kind of player, then by all means. But hey, this is a good draft, right?
I think we did a good job. I think we addressed the positions in need. We also, kind of have an opportunity to keep intact the 49er legacy with McCaffrey and Frank Gore Jr. And we
Yeah.
got the offensive lineman, we got the defensive lineman, the corner. I think we did a good job. We got the tackle, we got a guard. I think we did a good job. I think it was solid.
Yeah. So which player do I think that I interview might get drafted by the Niners in this year's draft? I got a gut feeling. My bold prediction, I'm going to say it's the safety that we got, like interviewed. I'm I'm going to say Jay Stanley. I think he's going to get drafted by the Niners because he can play, because he's very versatile. He can play the strong and the free safety, and he can play nickel, which the Niners value the most. And he's a good dude. So him and Frank Gore getting drafted together, that'd be cool. Maybe Trey Taylor. Maybe I'm wrong, but Trey Taylor's pretty raw. I like him from Air Force. He was the Jim Thorpe Award winner. He'd be nice, but I think we're going to go Jay Stanley in the draft. So if somebody comes back to this screenshot, I want to say bold prediction. I think we'll get Jay Stanley pari fit for 6th round.
Okay.
Because if you watch him, he's very versatile, and he's got 10.
Can go 2 for 2. Let's see TCG can go 2 for 2.
Yeah, I mean Burford was the one that turned out to be, and then what's his name? Jason Poe was another one, but he didn't get drafted, but he came to our squad.
Yeah.
Cameron Young was drafted by Seattle, but Christian Young went to Seattle. Quite a few dudes have some, like there's some guys that got drafted, but it was mostly the 4th round or undrafted. So maybe we might reach for Stanley in the 4th round. Who knows? We reached for Burford. Burford was a 5th round guy. There was.
I still like Burford. I like the Burford pick, so I wasn't mad at it because I feel like we did need offensive linemen, so I wasn't mad at the Burford pick.
He just hasn't I think he just had a slump year. Maybe he'll get better though, because I think sophomore slump is a real thing sometimes.
For certain guys, yeah.
It sure is. But hey, we pretty much covered a lot of everything, bro. We'll definitely start catching up on some some other days. Whenever you got something available, just let me know and we can figure out something.
All right, bro.
For sure. And for everybody else, before we end this, tell everybody where they can find your social media platform.
At Amin the Dream 13 on Twitter, and Amin the Dream is just a YouTube Amin the Dream. No 13 on YouTube. That's where you can find me on my socials.
Oh, that's good, bro. But it's good to hear from you. It's been like 2 years, but it's better than.
I had a good time, CG. I had a good time doing the mock with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate you for having me on, bro.
Yeah, anytime, bro. And shout out to all those people watching. And we'll definitely see you guys later because I got my other guy later on today. But but go check out Amin the Dream. Go subscribe to him. He's the future of the Niners content creator. This guy has a bright future. Like I've said the last few years, you're the bright future. CG. You and Carcass are the future.
Appreciate that, CG.
Yeah, you and Carcass should have a show together. All right, man. Let's call it a day.